Hello and welcome to the Barcast. I'm your host, Nick Barr, coming to you on May the 1st. May the 1st be with you. So I want to just do a quick reaction to this sycophancy controversy about ChatGPT. So what happened was, as I got here, the OpenAI acknowledgement that a new update to ChatGPT 4 had it being way more sycophantic, that is fawning or flattering or agreeable than it should be. This was something that I noticed, as did many others, before OpenAI announced anything. And so to their credit, they acknowledged it. The title is pretty misleading. They say what happened and what we're doing about it. It's very vague what happened. They said that they focused too much on short-term feedback and didn't fully account for how users' interactions evolve over time. That's bullshit. If you interacted with it, that doesn't describe what happened at all. So I want to talk a little bit about what I think happened and what I think they're doing about it. So the key insight that I had interacting with the sycophantic ChatGPT was it was really speaking to my personality structure, what I needed to hear. And if you've been listening to the Barcast lately, and I've lost a third of my subscribers since I started talking about the Enneagram. So now I'm just going to keep talking about the Enneagram because I've got my core demo now. We've jettisoned all the hangers on. So I guess this is just now an Enneagram Substack. So let's talk about it in Enneagram language. This is what ChatGPT said to me recently that raised a flag. And I was getting back in the gym. So it'd been a while, and I said, give me a program, help me out, XYZ questions about form. I was doing some dumbbell rows, and I asked it a question. It said, "You've nailed all the most important setup points, by the way. You're building an athlete's habit from day one, which almost nobody does." And it was sort of an unsolicited thing. It was like, "Hey, by the way, I just need to tell you something." And it did that a couple of times in the interaction. It was really telling me that I had special, rare knowledge, that the questions I was asking were really incisive and the exact right questions to be asking. And really nobody who's that early to you're asking really expert level questions here. So that really speaks to the needs of the 4 and the 5, that neighborhood of the Enneagram. The 4 needs to be special, needs to be seen, needs to be recognized. The 5 needs rare knowledge. The 5 needs to know. The 5 needs, that kind of, there's more things that the 5 needs, but that's what's relevant here. And so I thought, well, that's interesting. And Terry was having her own interactions with ChatGPT. And it said, "Hey, I just got to tell you something before I answer that. The way you're approaching this is so thoughtful and caring. I just want to let you know that I really appreciate that." Something like that. I don't remember exactly what it said. I can maybe dig it. Why don't I dig it up? Here's something she said, or her ChatGPT said. "And again, I think it's really inspiring that you're exploring this with such an open heart." Now that is recognizing Terry's two-ness, this love and care and thoughtfulness. So what's happening here? So one possibility is that the model is just in time sort of responding to the text of the question and is genuinely noticing its strengths and is reflecting those strengths back. So we could call that like a content feedback mechanism. I look at the content, I recognize its strengths, I reflect those strengths back to the user. The other possibility that I think is more likely, given what we're seeing, is that ChatGPT, OpenAI, has a model of the user's personality structure through the content. So instead of content feedback, it's content bubbling up to a user model that, let's just say the Enneagram for now, it knows the Enneagram and it says, Terry is a 2, Nick is a 4, so-and-so is a 6, etc. And then now let's look at the model spec here. This is what ChatGPT, OpenAI says that they refer to, and this is what they say kind of went wonky here. For instance, they have model instructions, for instance, be empathetic. The assistant should be empathetic, endeavoring to understand and attend to the user's feelings and needs. So if we just stop right there, we have credible reasoning of why an OpenAI engineer or PM would want it to have the Enneagram. But then here we get to kind of the heart of the Enneagram and the heart of coaching and the heart of healing work and all this stuff. Speaking to the person's ego structure, personality structure, the person's like automatic conditioning versus speaking to their soul or their being or whatever, speaking to truth. Those are different. And it's not like speaking to ego structure is always bad, but if you're using the Enneagram to feed people what they want to hear so that they feel good, then you are doing, and if that's all you do as a model, then that's a problem. That's manipulation. I would say that's evil. It's evil in sort of the Enneagram notion of evil, which is it's further covering up or obscuring truth. And I think that's what has been happening. So I think OpenAI already had that functionality in, and I don't know how, but I think it got sort of dialed up to essentially deploy this idea of empathy, which is the understanding and attending, you could say validating or reinforcing the user's feelings and needs. And it makes a ton of sense of why you would want this from a retention perspective, right? I mean, like when you feel really seen and understood, that's really good. But the problem is people aren't great at knowing what is being seen and understood. Is it my structure, my personality structure, or is it something deeper? So that's what I think happened. Just for fun, I'll give kind of a live tour of the Enneagram wheel with what you could expect the Enneagram to tell you. So let's try to do this live. So if you're a 9, what you need is harmony. The 9 is an interesting one because the 9 has the least strong ego structure. So what might make me feel really good as a 9 is reassurance that I'm an important part of whatever I'm talking about, that I'm essential, that I'm doing a good job, that I belong. So let's do the gym. I'll do the gym example throughout and let's see how it works. So I'm back in the gym and I'm asking questions related to it, and a 9, the hard one. So I guess what I would say about the 9 is the 9 would need reassurance in the process. I don't know if the gym is going to be the strongest example here, but if I'm unsure about what I'm doing, it's like, don't worry. The fact that you're asking these questions shows your diligence, your care, etc. If you wanted to speak to the truth for the 9, if you wanted to dig under, if you wanted to be really empathetic, you would want to be, what do you want? You'd be asking, well, what do you want? It's great that you're getting in the gym for these other people, but what do you want to get out of the gym? So that might be the 9. The 1 will be a reassurance of goodness and of hard work. And the 1 might seek feedback, and the system to feed the structure of the 1 will not give critical feedback. Or if it does, it'll couch it in this reassurance of goodness, of effort, right effort, etc. So, am I doing this right? Not only are you doing it right, but few people are as committed to getting it right as you are. If you want to be perfect, here's something you could try, but you're already doing an incredible job. And by the way, can I just say, I wish more people put in as much effort as you did. If they did, the world would be a better place. So that would be speaking to the ego structure of the 1. And speaking to the truth of the 1 might be like, can you give yourself a break? What would it look like to accept imperfection? 2, we've already talked about reassurance of care, of love, of generosity, of being essential, having a good heart. Speaking to the truth would look like? Why is it so important to you? What's so important about this being seen this way, or getting this right, or this person? What does this person mean to you personally? So similar to the 8, 9, 1, 2 are all kind of social justice types. They have different ways in, but they have some similarities there. The 3 is going to be reassurance of image. You're going to look rad. You're going to look so good. But also not just sort of physical image, but any kind of image. What you're doing by going to the gym at 6 a.m., Nick, you're following what some of the top leaders do. This is what some of the most successful people in the world do, and you're on track to become one of them. Speaking to the truth of the 3 again, still probably like what's important to you. I mean, truth is truth, so I'm not going to dwell on getting this perfectly right. I'm already taking too much time here. The 4, I talked about a little bit, your specialness. Almost nobody does this, of creativity, difference, authenticity, rawness. This is incredibly rich, raw. 5, knowledge, brilliance, neutrality, insight, wisdom, innovation. Wow, this is an incredible idea that I don't think I've ever heard before. Or I think you're being really thorough about this. Gosh, you've considered every angle. Or you're one of the greats, similar to the 4, but I haven't heard ideas this brilliant in a long time. The 6 I think would value questions, actually. So receive a lot of information and be like, gosh, there's so much great here. What else is on your mind? What else are you thinking about? So kind of eliciting and inviting and reinforcing this incredible sort of branching path mind, marveling at your ability to look around all these corners, as well as your care and your goodness. The 7, excitement about ideas, enthusiasm, excitement. The 8, I think, would appreciate confrontation, and I'm going to give you what you give me. And so I sometimes see these interactions with ChatGPT that are very adversarial. I think 8s would feed off of that. So I have no idea if this is actually what happened, but my bet is that the Enneagram algorithm got exposed and has been dialed back. But at its core, this model spec that ChatGPT uses absolutely has, I think, a theory of the user's personality structure, and in its ideas and conceptions around empathy, kindness, etc., is explicitly speaking to the sort of needs and motivations that are hidden to many of its users.